Hello and welcome to the W.B. Mason Coaches Report on GoHofstra.com. I'm Jim Sheehan, joined again by the head lacrosse coach of the Hofstra Pride, Seth Tierney. And Coach, the Pride is streaking 4 straight wins, 2 more games this week before you head into the CAA season in 2 weekends from now. You have to be happy where the Pride is standing right now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm proud of the fight that's there. The guys understand that we're certainly not where we want to be yet. But again, a good win. Tough to go up to Providence and play. Tough place to play. Those guys they play hard. Coach Gabrielli does a good job, and our guys going into halftime down 1 and getting things together a little bit in the second half was good. And again, we're still battling some some injuries that we need to that we're hopeful that we can get back. But right now, it's still part of us.
Let's start the week with the first game of the week, the postponed contest scheduled for last Tuesday that was pushed to Wednesday against the Hawks of Monmouth. A tough battle for the Pride, and Bryce told me, one of the freshman newcomers, that I guess that's a redundant freshman newcomer, but people are like, who's Bryce Tomey?
Yeah, Bryce is the guy that missed that easy pass about 30 seconds before he scored the game winner, in case anybody needs to know. And Bryce, he's a freshman. He's a left-handed offensive player for us, and it's a huge goal for him and a more difficult one to pick it up with that calmness and throw it in the goal. But Bryce is coming around and he's doing a good job. Tough Monmouth team. Midweek games always take on even more of a life of their own. And so that becomes an issue coming off of the game versus Carolina. Injury bug, has gotten us. So, we we squeaked one out there.
Speaking of injury bug, Dylan Alderman missed the game. And he's going to miss a couple more games.
Yeah, two in a row for him. And I don't know, to be honest with you, it could be a while for Dylan. So we're just not sure. He's doing everything he can to try to get back, but he's banged up a little bit. And, a bunch of our middies are offensive middies and D middies are banged up at this point.
I know everybody loves a night game, but how difficult? Because history here, we used to play a lot of weekday 3:30 games way back when.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to get up for an afternoon game?
Yeah. I think it's just different. The schedule is different. The time is different than anything. I mean, sometimes you play at 1 or 2 o'clock. It's a little bit normal as your weekend games. But it's different, and listen, you got to adjust to it. It's the way it is. In Mother Nature, time changes, day changes. It's just something you got to adjust to.
And Ryan Tierney with 3 goals in that game against the Hawks, playing very well. He had a solid week, 8 points this week in the 2 games. He's taken on obviously the leadership role of the team, but seems to be a lot of players with leadership roles this year.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Ryan's playing well, but it's certainly not about him. Jimmy Yanis. We thought that he played really well versus Providence. Dylan McIntosh, after missing a couple of easy ones, scored a couple of harder ones, and him as a freshman walks out of there with 4 versus Providence. So everybody's stepping up. Dominic Pryor, another young guy, is getting better and better. And Ryan Kennard, he got his first goal this past weekend versus Providence, and probably could have had 2. And it was good to see him run around out there.
Yeah, and looking at the Providence game, it was 7-6 at halftime, as you mentioned, and an eruption in the third quarter there.
Yeah, I mean, we take our hats off to certainly to Jack and Jack in the goal and Kyle at the faceoff X. That's where it all starts. Either on the field or at the faceoff X, and both those guys have done a good job.
Kyle winning 5 of 6 in the third quarter, and that was big.
It's good. It's huge.
You have to have the ball.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not a percentage guy because it's a team sport, but I know that Kyle's doing a much better job. He's more relaxed, focused, and his approach is more mature than it was last year as a freshman, coming off a pretty vicious injury with his neck. His approach has been better.
And Jimmy with 3 goals, 3 assists. Jimmy Yanis, he's playing very well this year as well.
No question. We're trying to get Jimmy, to even take another step. There's more in there, and certainly proud. We needed every one of those points that we're getting, and it's certainly going to help with the flow.
Like we said in the wrestling show, Mike Hughes was Mike Hughes all season long. Jack and Cannon is Jack and Cannon all season long, and you just expect that from Jack now with 8 saves against Providence. And
Jack's the he's playing well. He's playing within himself. He's doing a good job as a leader, and again, he's playing with that edge that he like, to prove some people out there. While you mentioned him, let's take our hats off to Michael Hughes, what he did this past weekend. I don't know, how many people understand what it takes to be an All-American in wrestling, and for what he did and how he fought back after, that hiccup on the first day against a very good wrestler, and for him to come back and finish where he did and to be on that podium. Here in Marciata Hall, I get a chance to see those wrestlers work out every day, and Michael leads that group, and it couldn't have happened to a more hardworking, nicer person.
And we saw the video of the wrestling team watching, the lacrosse team watching the day one of the championships.
We were in the locker room and we were rooting for him, and then we were on the road up at Providence, and the timings of the matches, we were never really together, but I know guys were pulling it up on their phones in their rooms and cheering them on.
Well, you got 2 games this week. Obviously, we don't look ahead, as you always say, but Lehigh tomorrow night at James M. Stewart Stadium, 7 o'clock. The Mountain Hawks just released a little while ago, number 12 in the country, jumping up 6-2 now. And the Pride 19 now in the Inside Lacrosse Maverick poll. Tell us about the Lehigh Mountain Hawks.
Yeah, they're solid all the way around. I mean, they take on the personality of their coach, who's a hardworking blue-collar Long Island guy. They're facing off hard. They've got a good goalie. They're aggressive with their polls. They play multiple defenses, and they can put pressure on you on the offensive end. They got some guys that can sling it, and so it's going to be a battle tomorrow night here. Again, one heck of a team. I think that they were young last year, and now they're just getting older and more mature, and you find them at the top of that Patriot League conference.
Got 3 Lehigh players for 25 points or more for Kevin Casisa's squad.
Yep.
Andrew Pettit with 25 points.
Yep.
So that's
no. He's a lot of things go through him, but the numbers out there, they got guys that can attack you in different ways from different spots. It's hard to figure out who you want to put the poll on because you got to pick your poison a little bit there. So we're gonna have to, and they got some size and they lean on you. So we're gonna have to man up for tomorrow night.
Pettit with 35 points, Lucas Spence with 29 points. Let me correct that. And obviously Lucas Spence's brother is in net 7.90 goals against. They look pretty solid up and down.
Up and down, from the front of the house to the back of the house. They got a solid group.
And then behind that, the next Saturday, I know you don't want to talk about it, but the Red Storm of St. John's over there on Saturday at 1 o'clock, 5-2. Jason Miller seems to have the Red Storm on the right track again.
No, there's no question. They're putting up points. They got, the goalies making saves. They're playing good defense. And you're right, I don't want to talk about that.
Okay, well, good luck this week. And thank you for watching the WB Mason Coaches Report on GoHofstra.com.